Let me slow down and breathe. Hey, how are you guys doing out here? James Humphrey with another episode of Real Talk with Real Men. I got Kyle Stanley with me, and today we are doing another what were you talking about?
Episode of Real Talk Real Men.
I already said that though. Beefing.
Beef is the concept, the subject, the topic.
I'm gonna have to edit the shit out of that intro.
It's all right.
It's all good. Today we are talking about beefing. You know, getting into it with your boys. Getting into it with strangers.
Yeah.
You know, not to beat the fuck out of that dude that stole your parking spot.
Man, that's probably my biggest beef. In my old age, my ripe old age of mid-30s, that's probably my biggest beef is parking spot etiquette.
If anything, we should probably do just a whole episode of just parking.
Man.
Especially being here in downtown.
Yeah.
You know, parking is very, very scarce.
Gets tight, yeah.
So when you want to just go down the street, get something to eat real quick, you come right back and your parking spot's gone.
They in your shit.
Oh, dude. That's where it goes. When do we not start beef? When as real men do we think like, hey, you know what? I need to squash this shit. You know what I mean? Like it's too much.
You gotta weigh the risk and reward factor, I would say. If you partaking in the beef, if it's something petty or, something that if I indulge in this, if I take an active role in this beef of returning that energy, if a person is being negative you in any way, will this have a lasting effect on me? Or is this just momentary? Is this a single incident? And will it cause other detriment in other areas of my life?
Yep.
So weighing that out, and if it's something that just can be let go for the sake of, hey, I got other shit going on, let it go. If it's, I just want to get nasty at you because you were an asshole to me, if I got to call you a name or cuss you out or something, if that's something that we can exchange and then keep on going about our ways, and it might come to that if I feel like that, if I'm ever in that mood. But most of the time, if it's going to take too much time, if it's going to take maybe a stress factor, put a little stress on me or anything like that, then shit, I can just keep my hands out of the mix, if at all possible.
I feel like most beef is literally just a challenge of your masculinity, a challenge of your manhood.
True.
You just got another guy that, wants to challenge you, see if you're about that life, see if you're not about that life, and then if you're not, then obviously you're a bitch, and then if you are, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Preconceive in our head.
Yeah, and then for me, I was just never really a beefing kind of guy. You know what I mean?
Kind of confrontational.
Yeah, I just was never really confrontational. I think people saw that I'm only 5'7", I'm whatever. It's like, this guy's not. He's a nobody. He's not gonna do anything. Whatever. Okay. You know what I mean? So I guess I've never been in a real situation where I had to beef or challenge people. Now I've had some neighbors though.
Yeah.
Where they either upstairs or next to me.
Yeah.
Causing ruckus and all this other bullshit. It's like, bro, it's like midnight, man. When do you have to go over there? It's like, hey, yo, keep that shit down, man. Yeah. What the fuck? You know what I'm saying? So I've had situations where, even with family members, just beefing with family members, like, is this really important?
You're right.
Am I really thinking about this too much?
Right.
And I think that's
too much time and energy.
Yeah, I think that's when you're thinking, like, you know what? I need to let this go.
Right.
Or you make it bigger than what it is, because all it is just confrontation.
Right.
I bump into you in the club, I spill drink on your shoes.
And a refusal to let it go.
And then there's the refusal to let it go.
Yeah.
It reminds me of, you watch the Boondocks, right?
Yes.
The
real nigga moments.
Yeah, real nigga moments and shit like that.
Yeah.
It's like, when is it best to just let go?
Man, anytime you can put the option up there and it's actually a viable option of I can just not participate and see if this resolves itself, if it just dissolves into nothing, if it solves itself as a problem. And a lot of times it does. You know what I'm saying? I used to be a hothead guy that would get frustrated if, things that I work on don't go my type of way. If I'm working on something, I'm saving up for something, or I got a work plan to where I need to do certain things by a certain date or timeline, and the shit's not going my way, then I'm create frustration, and that'll bleed over into other things. But if I can just step back and recollect myself, like, okay, this shit is not gonna hurt me. I'm not, on my deathbed or gonna lose time or sleep about this type of shit. Then maybe I can relax and give myself a little more grace, a little more patience to refocus and maybe reprioritize what I'm doing.
The workforce is what I'm thinking. That's probably where most of my beef comes from, is the workforce. Having to work with motherfuckers that you have to work with, man.
I'm zen-like in the workplace, so
are you?
I like that you said that. Go ahead and tell me what your problem is.
Oh, man. Because there's always that one coworker is like, okay, this motherfucker said that shit about me the other day, and now he's going to run and tell so-and-so, blah, blah, this and blah, blah, that. So I'm just going to avoid that motherfucker. This warehouse is big enough where you can be on the other end and I can be on the other end. But there's always that it's that cross in between of the coworkers. And it's very childish, but my solving the problem of beef with coworkers is just quitting and go find another job. Okay. I feel like when and we talked about this before, where the level of bullshit outweighs the level of money that you're making. You know what I mean? When it starts to teeter over is when you quit that job. But there are some situations where either you're in a very high stress position where you just can't quit, or you got bills and other shit, and you ain't got nothing in line. I would say the best way is just to talk to that person directly. I think that's fine. That's probably the easiest way that beef can be squashed. Because when you get a crowd of people and you're trying to talk to somebody about something, whatever, it becomes a scene. But if you ever just pull that person to the side and say, hey, man, I didn't like the way you said that. And I know it. I understand it. You probably wasn't even really mad at me, whatever. But let's just squash this shit and try to make this money, do this and do that. You know what I mean? I think that's like probably the best way of dealing with that in the workforce. Okay. You know what I mean? What are your thoughts?
I would agree with that. I would encourage other people to do that. I will find in my personal life that sounds so good, but when I apply it in real life situations, man, I just find the hardest headed sons of bitches that want to just fuck with me for no reason. It's like I'm the most quiet, affable, most go with the flow, easygoing guy in the workplace I can be. I mind my business. I keep quiet. I'm very, very, I would say, strict about being concise. I like to give you enough information, but not too much. I like to keep my personal things private when I'm working in a professional setting. And once I, see certain traits about you or certain similarities between us, maybe I'll invite you closer. But as a professional relationship with coworkers, superiors, even peers, it's pretty much I'm here about this work. And when I do my work to completion and to satisfaction of my superiors in a way that they kind of get the hint that I'm pretty exact, pretty neat in my execution. I'm often accurate in my execution. I come from like an accounting background outside of manual labor. I love math and shit like that. So being detail oriented, being neat when you work on projects and things of that nature, being thorough, checking things. People and superiors appreciate that type of thing, and you get reputation very fast in new settings of being someone that is capable of doing the right things without much supervision or micromanaging. So I like to do things like that so that people really don't have too much reason to bother me as it regards work. It's like you shouldn't have a problem if I'm doing everything that pertains to my job correctly. So if you're approaching me about something petty, something what I would deem bullshit outside of that, then I can easily deal with you because I know it's not a performance related thing. This is a personal thing. Oftentimes, if a person is giving me grief, it's because they're unhappy with something in their own life. You could be an asshole to me about, hey, you took my blue pen, but it's really because you mad about some other shit that happened yesterday. And I identify that in other people because too many times in instances, that's how it's gone. You think you really got a problem with somebody, and then you be like, hey, motherfucker, what's really going on? He's like, oh man, I didn't think that. I wasn't trying to bother you, man. I was just having a hard day. It's like, bro, okay, but you know what I'm saying? You came in here like an asshole. Mm-hmm. Now, if I'm the type to take that like an asshole and return that asshole energy, we got a problem on our hands.
Yep.
So if you don't want to exacerbate the situation, don't put fuel on the fire on it in the ways of just being an asshole to people that don't deserve it. You know what I'm saying? If you're cut or you're hurt, don't bleed on people that didn't hurt you.
Yep.
That's what I think of. So.
And unfortunately, it always comes to a situation where that always happens, man.
Yeah, so
it's like, why you giving me this energy? What the fuck did I do to you, man?
Exactly.
Like goddamn.
Some other shit. Most of the time. That's why I say I'm Zen-like, because I had to realize that with just experience. Mm-hmm. Being upset with motherfuckers. I went the HR route. I had beef with motherfuckers to where you can't put your hands on them.
Yeah.
But it's like me or you need to go. Yeah. So what the fuck is it gonna be?
Well, I read a study or something like that when majority of people that get fired, is mainly because the lack of being able to get along well with others is why they get fired. It's not because of time or anything else. Usually when that situations happen, the statistics show that they actually just quit, like things of that nature. But when people actually get fired, it's like, hey man, you can't get along with others. I mean, you call so and so an asshole in front of everybody, blah this, blah that. It's like, you can't.
You're offensive.
You can't have that shit, man. You got to go. Yeah. And I've actually, been around people like that, where it's like they gave off that really really bad beef and energy because they were mad at the company. Yeah. But then they were just taking that shit out on everybody else.
And that's a lot of it. Being upset and frustrated about your job. You feel you got looked over for a position. You feel like you didn't get the appropriate raise.
Don't get promoted and then have to work with the guy that interviewed for it.
Or was training you earlier in the work career. It's like, oh man, the jealousy rises. But it's like, be after your bread. Get your money. If you feel like this job is not satisfying you in the financial area, you need to look for other jobs. Don't start picking problems with me just because I'm here and I'm cavalier doing my thing. Yep. And I feel like that's how it always goes for me. So it's like I have to maneuver around people in a strategic way. Mm-hmm. Like I say, the HR shit does not work. HR works for the company, so they're on the backing of the company side.
Which really sucks about that, because when HR gets a complaint, their first instinct is to think of how is this liable for the company.
Exactly.
Which is fucking terrible.
They're doing damage control.
Fucking terrible. Because then you end up getting fired for some shit because
you get into this quarrel that doesn't get better or even alleviated because they're trying to damage control for the company and not really solving the problem between the two coworkers. Yeah. Which is how my shit played out.
Yep. I'm trying to think. What do you do when you can't avoid it, man? You probably gotta put some hands on some people. You know what I mean?
I mean, if you can, just trying to get out of the building where you are. At least. Well, I'm just thinking care of it on the private setting. I grew up in a time where street violence was a factor. So,
I'm trying to think of just in general. When you run into that person that just thinks he's Billy Badass. It's like he's truly testing you, especially when it comes to women. I hate to say that, but women.
Yes, yeah. Now you have to approach that a different way, but man, I try to be bulletproof in that way of taking care of your job and not being a corner cutter. I would say a shortcut taker. Yeah. The way someone can pull up some evidence. Oh, hey, you were actually not on your game. You actually did fuck up over here. Yeah. Nah, not me. You won't catch me like that or slacking like that. So it's like with ladies, they always tend to get a little jealous if you are getting any kind of favoritism or any kind of privileges that they feel like they are getting looked over for. Yeah. And I'm oftentimes the guy that will help everybody, but I will get certain courtesies just because I'm a good worker. I have a proven track record of being dependable. So motherfuckers will be more lenient with me. I might be gone for an hour on lunch. You might only get 30. You know what I'm saying? Like, certain things will be excused for me. I might be able to leave or do a certain project or do anything, go to another facility or whatever it may be. And you feel like, well, he shouldn't be able to do that. He's too, whatever it is, he's too new. He hasn't been here long enough. I have more seniority than him, more training, whatever it is. That's just because that's my personality. I win like that. I've been working on this for years. So that being insecure with yourself, so it makes you envious of me. I sidestep that unless you bring it to me directly with, hey, Ken, I don't like this type of shit, and then I might just tell you off. I might return that energy and just cuss you out in that breath. Yeah. But otherwise, man, I can look at you and see if it's a problem that I really need to get my hands dirty with, or I can just let God deal with you.
Yep.
And God dealing with you is oftentimes the better strategy because, like I say, I grew up in where street violence was acceptable, but we had less camera footage back then.
Yeah. So nowadays everything's getting recorded. Karens are getting famous.
Exactly.
Beefing with
recorded doing
with,
some shit.
With cashiers and all this other shit.
Pay some fines and go to jail for some bullshit, which is even more problem. So try and avoid it. Try and keep the shit off your shoes if you can.
I feel if people just train their minds to remain calm in every situation,
yes.
That would probably just cancel most of the beef. You know what I mean?
Mental fortitude and resilience.
Either that or it's just a simple misunderstanding. Like get the full story before you react.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Just,
definitely
ask the right appropriate questions before giving the right or the answers that you think are correct.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Been on plenty of situations where it's like, hey, well, that's not even the full story. That's not even what the fuck happened.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, what the hell? Like, this
Where'd
is what happened.
This bullshit from?
You know? Even with that whole viral situation I had a couple of months ago, it was a simple misunderstanding. Oh man, I'm trying to think of what else is for beef, other than just
you hit on a good one. Try and have some patience before reacting. Don't be so reactive to beef because, like I say, people have their own problems and they could be projecting.
Yeah.
Some things you really don't even have to get involved with it or only get you more trouble on your plate if you do get involved with it.
Yeah.
So try and work on your
minding your business. That's a good one.
Your emotional intelligence of how do I control my feelings? Even though this happened to me, how am I going to respond in a way that protects myself and everything that I have going on? I don't want to derail all the positive shit I have going on just because I'm feuding with you. So that's always important. Some motherfuckers is just, I'm tired of your shit and I just want to, you know what I'm saying, fuck you up. I want to wreck you right now. And people do push you to that point. Yep. People do have the ability and the capacity to push you to those areas. If it's people you know personally and things like that, they can push those buttons to really make the blood come up in your eyes.
Well, you got that quick beef, like, oh, you stepped on my shoes, but then you got that slow burn beef where it's like they keep doing doing this. And those are usually the coworkers, the people's in your lives that do, because those are the people that you have to tolerate, the people you have to deal with. Right. So I think it's more prominent in those situations to just address that shit right then and there compared to, oh, excuse me, man, my bad type shit. You know what I mean?
Okay, and if it is a situation or a beef with a person that is existing kind of permanently, semi-permanently in your life, let it be a wife, a child, you know what I'm saying? You can beef with kids. It's not right, I would say, but you can beef with your child, man, and hold grudges and be upset and mean.
Yeah.
If it's somebody that has to be a recurring role in your life, someone that is there daily or just on a recurring basis, see if there's any room to mend the relationship rather than swallowing pride, holding on to pride and ego. Can you sit back, reflect, and say, is there anything that I might have been wrong about? Is there anything they were wrong about? And can an apology fix some of this?
Yeah.
Because oftentimes there's situations where just a simple apology of, shit, I know I hurt you in this way, whether I said something or did something that hurt you. I know I did it, but my ego is so big, or I'm so full of myself, or just proud that I feel like I shouldn't have to say this, or you know me personally, so you know that I wasn't playing, or I was playing. You know me so good that you know I don't really mean that type shit, and you just take that for granted, and you just never apologize appropriately. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Be big enough to claim your faults, take responsibility, and apologize when it is appropriate. That will help you fix a lot of relationships and not let things probably fester.
Kill a lot of beef.
Yeah,
it's just a simple apology.
Possible. If possible.
Go ahead and end the episode there. I got Kyle Stanley, got me, James, on another episode. Real Talk with Real Men. See you guys next week.
Yep. Have a good night.
All right, man. Let's do it. Let's answer some questions.
Yo.
Let's get some questions on there. So, just starting out, we didn't get a lot of questions, so I actually asked some of my passengers.
Okay.
Like, hey, I'm doing this TV show, want to ask some questions about this, about that. Okay. The first passenger that I had when I asked this question, this is the question that he wanted us to answer.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah. I'm with it.
What would stop black people from converting to Judaism?
What would stop?
Yeah.
I'm not too well versed on Judaism and where people stand with it as far as being an original Jew, Hebrew, or whatever you want to be.
Oh, man.
I don't indulge really in a religious sect. I don't even subscribe to the division of any denomination, but I do believe in creation.
It's going to sound bad, but what is Judaism? Do you even know? I don't know. I have no idea.
We can Google it real quick.
I mean, we can.
The actual practice of being Jewish. Judaism.
That guy was not Jewish, though.
Oh, what?
He was not Jewish at all.
Okay.
I want to say he was a Muslim.
Okay, so he trying to keep you out?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
How do I keep you motherfuckers from coming to the meeting, goddammit? I'm seeing a lot of brown faces at the meeting now.
That was the question, man. We'll answer two more, and then we'll end the episode. All right, this question is a lot better.
Okay.
All right, tips to project confidence in situations where you don't feel confident.
Good posture.
There we go.
Good posture. Speak clearly.
Okay.
Rehearse your words.
I was gonna say
eye contact.
I was gonna say, if you know the situation before it happens, replay the situation. Like if it's a job interview or something like that. Like if you know you're not confident, you know going in what a confident situation that you're going in, replay it in your head. You know, because then it will help get the jitters out. Mm-hmm. You know, imagine the questions that you're gonna have to answer. Imagine the situation or how the outcome that you want it to be. Because obviously, what you think about on a regular basis is what you're gonna manifest. So. Adding to what you said, obviously speak clearly and all the other stuff, posture and all that good stuff. But then I would say the best tip for me when I know I'm going into a situation where I need to be confident, even with the show, it's like, okay, I'm going to replay how I want things to go, and hopefully that's
flow from there.
That's what we're going to get.
Flow from there. Okay.
Next question. Last question. How to cultivate and adhere to healthy and lasting habits.
Okay. Well, first is research. Identify some healthy habits that you would like to incorporate into your routines, your daily routines. And then from there, small steps.
Yep.
You all want to take up a routine and it's being consistent, and you kind of want to drive that. I know we all are hard on ourselves of, hey, you need to do this and you need to do that. You need to eat better. You need to meal prep and all this type shit. But small steps. You might meal prep a couple days and then not do it next week.
Yep.
Next week, meal prep for 3 more days. Cook a bigger meal. You might miss next week after that. Next week, do it even more and then have more snacks prep. You know what I'm saying? You just build on the habit daily. Whatever that habit is, push it a little bit more daily.
Just to add on to that, consistency. I think it's like a new habit starts every 20 to 30 days. Doing something every 20 to 30 days is when a new habit starts. So if you stick with it consistently, whatever it is that you're doing, then it'll literally become habit to you. And then obviously if it's not helping you, then that's the habit that you want to stop. You want to consistently not do whatever it is that's not helping. You know, I would say that's the best way to get into healthy habits as well as getting rid of bad habits.
Yeah.
You know, is just consistency, stick to the 20 to 30 days and then see what happens after that. You know, that's our 3 questions. And then it's just going to cut after that. So we're cool.
Y'all have a good night. God dog.